Okay.
Ender, you're bouncing.
I don't mean to. I'm typing, and
Oh,
since I'm here to Airbnb, I've got this little rinky uh, TV tray for for a desk, and yeah.
Tom, you're talking, but we can't hear you.
Good morning, Zale. How
There
are
you
you?
are.
It's good afternoon. How are you doing?
Doing well. Have you recovered from the event?
Oh, heavens, no. My head is still reeling on all the potential possibilities. So yeah, it's kind of exciting, really. Um, Learned a lot. Won't duplicate a lot of things I did because I did a lot of stuff wrong, but I am convinced I am on a mission and I want to continue that. So how about you?
Doing well. Still, today and yesterday have been a great catch-up day, and both of you might find this interesting, but for what I'm doing, I have actually finally had to carve out an insurance day because if I'm not careful, the law will just overtake it. And I've had pretty decent success in pulling together referrals for cross sells and that sort of thing. It's just a matter of following up on them. And so I've just finally had to carve out a day to do that.
What are you saying to get, are you considering ever joining the Breakaway League?
Sure.
What are you using to get your law clients to listen to you about insurance?
So I started at the very front end, especially for the estate planning folks. And so on the questionnaire, I start out talking about uh, long-term care, life insurance, all of that. And I just get their interest. And so whenever I'm coming back and going over it, I can easily say, you checked that you want to have a discussion about life insurance, long-term care, Medicare, whatever it is. So let's talk. And that has flowed pretty well, especially when a lot of my clients are kind of the middle of the road folks anyway, so they don't necessarily have, what they would consider a money guy. That opens itself up.
What language are you using? Now you've got the data questionnaire. They said, yes, we need to discuss that and wills and trusts and buy-sell agreements and all that other stuff. But what are you doing to hook them into because remember, if you follow what the Breakaway League does, I screw up every estate plan in the country. I basically ruin all the work that you did as an attorney. Not ruin it, but I really made it worse. So what you tried to save by doing an effective estate plan, I made worse by having you own this contract. Think back again what that guy that set the record, $1,200,000 a month, he owns that contract. $270 million death benefit, he owns it.
Right.
It's in his estate. The death benefit is his.
Right.
So with one monthly check of $1,200,000, he created a federal tax bill of $120 million. So what are you saying to get someone to shift gears? Because when I hear estate planning, Zale, I think preservation, I think
Right.
reduction, I think minimization. I don't think, estate or income tax savings. It's an estate tax savings.
Well, I don't have that issue
Because
because that's not my ideal client profile.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of, I've got some ideas, but what kind of suggestions or vernacular are you using to create interest? To
Sure.
get some
what I have learned is that I come at it from a tax perspective. So, I asked them, has anybody talked to them about taxes in retirement? Has anybody talked to them how Social Security and anything coming out as far as RMDs or that sort of thing can tax or Social Security can drive up their tax brackets? And when I get their heads nodding on that, I tell them, like, look, I only know of two sources that the IRS code has said you can put money in those spots and it doesn't show up on a 1040 in your retirement. It doesn't show up under your provisional insurance calculation. And I said, first of them's Roth, and they nod their head because they've heard of Roth. And I say, second says, I tell them, says, hold on a second. Okay. Don't think I'm crazy. I'm just talking about the tax law. And I get their head nodding again. And I said, cash value life insurance. And at no point has anybody run out.
And they shouldn't. They shouldn't. I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah. So they start to get it in that it's not a matter of just trying to hawk policies. It's a matter of, here's what the tax code has said, that if you play by the rules, this is what can happen. And a lot of times I'll often quote, so this is as I have dissected what we went over, was that last week, 2 weeks ago, at the Breakaway League, as I have dissected what my crusade is. Okay. My crusade is to take Judge Learned Hand's statement of there are two tax systems in America, one for the informed, one for the uninformed, both are legal. So my crusade is to inform as many of the uninformed as I can. And one of the two ways that I know of that we best do that is with Roth conversions, which they also refer to as backdoor conversions, and is with cash value life insurance. And I've not sold a bunch of policies, but I hadn't had anybody running out either. So that to me has been a win.
I'm curious if you do decide to join the Breakaway League, if you could set up the meeting like that, I'd love to show you how to finish it. Because I've never not, if I can get someone to that point, I've always been able to close them. Because I'm going to build off their enthusiasm of hating the government. And what's really weird is that every time I've been audited, the auditor tells you, I hope you win. I think that's in their training course. Please say this to the taxpayer who is about to write us a check. We hope they win. Right? So there's a lot of things. I had a meeting yesterday and I spoke to a bunch of realtors. And we were talking about, finding people who believe what you believe. And the owner of the real estate office was asking me questions. She said, that's really interesting information. And I loved your explanation of services. So tell me a little bit more. And I said, well, let's have some fun. You want to have some fun? And I said, would you borrow money from me if I didn't tell you what the rate would be that I would charge you? No, not at all. But what if I then added insult to injury? And I gave you the rules that I was going to use to determine the interest rate I was going to charge you. Now listen carefully. I don't need the money right now, and I'm glad I was able to lend it to you. I'm going to go ahead and lend it to you. And then on the day you need it, I am going to see how successful you have been based on my definition, not yours, mine. And then the more I deem you successful, the higher the rate I'm going to charge you retroactive to the day that I loaned you the money. Now, would you borrow money from me? And she said, absolutely not. And I said, do you have an IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, simple SEP, SAR-SEP, pension, and prop sharing plan? She goes, yeah. I said, you're already there. You're already there. You are busting your ass to become successful. And you are buying a product that can only become real and effective if you fail. You're investing as hoping to fail, yet everything you're doing with your passion, your business, is for you to succeed. You are driving 80 miles an hour with your foot on the brake. Doesn't make much sense, does it? She said, I have to talk to you. And I said, no, I kind of thought that, but yes, you do. If people understood the result of what they've already done, they're going to throw up all over themselves. except for the billionaire who said, what if we don't mind paying taxes?
Right.
Okay, run. Steve, welcome. To what do I owe this pleasure? This is Real Talk at the Table. You're talking to someone.
Well, I just happened to be on the Facebook page and I saw it was going live. I just got on. I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but
All right, so let me have some fun with you since Kinder loves to post this live. The whole idea of Real Talk at the Table is to allow anyone in the financial system the opportunity to talk to someone who is a member of the top of the table and ask them anything that has to do with finances, life insurance, any of the products that we offer. I'm no longer a registered rep, so I'll talk in generalities. I won't talk in specifics. But really, it's an opportunity because when I was young, wanting to be really successful, I couldn't ever get a hold of the John Savages or the Ben Feldmans of the world. They were always in a class by themselves, and whenever they were in public, they were swarmed with people. So this is my way of giving back. In this environment, really, all I do is answer questions. Sometimes it goes over an hour, sometimes it's 3 minutes because Kinder's the only one that's on the call.
Sorry.
I had to give him some crap.
I'm feeling the love here, Tom. Appreciate it.
I hear you. Well, I just sent my check in for lifetime membership in the top of the table. So I'm now a life member.
Nice.
I don't know what the hell that means. It just means keep sending the money. So
It means you don't have to prove production anymore. You can just send in the money and you're vetted.
oh, wonderful. Do I still have to be licensed?
I don't think they care.
I don't need.
They're not going to verify that you're licensed. They just say you've done it for 10 years. You're vetted. You're a life member. Keep sending us money.
There you go. So, Stephen, when you think about the frustrations of running an insurance practice, why are you frustrated? What's driving you nuts?
well, nothing really drives me nuts. But yesterday there was the Zoom call with NAFA. I don't know if David mentioned it, but there was a lot of stuff going on right now that the state is trying to, just tie us down, man. Like it's like they're trying to destroy us. You know,
They want to be like London and Australia. Sure.
No, they want to be better than New York with the best interest laws, and they're turning a commission disclosure into a fiduciary rule. And anyway, we just had the emergency call from with our lobbyist on that yesterday. I haven't told you anything about it, Tom, but there it is.
He was going to.
I recommend 4 letters to anyone who lives out there on the liberal coast. That MOVE.
Tom, it's going to apply to every non-resident license holder as well.
Cancel it.
Yeah, well,
every resident licensed holder. Well, then stop selling in California. I stopped selling in New York.
Yeah.
I don't want to be licensed in New York.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. I wish New York would look at the results of what they've done. Sales in life insurance in the state of New York are down horribly. Well, there you go. That's best interest. Let's uninsure them.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was one of the points brought up. They said that the sales to the low and middle markets has dried up dramatically, and I don't have any proof on that. But you're the second person to say that aside from that call yesterday.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that the more you make it harmful for the people that are out there being on the hook for every bit of advice given, and the people who don't have any money are real swayed to sue to get money. I wouldn't want to be in that market either. Now that doesn't mean we shouldn't be with every strata of income. We should offer our services, but the more of the responsibility you put on my shoulders, the less excited I am about helping people. Which is one of the reasons why I quit selling. I don't sell anymore, I educate. I don't want to give you a recommendation. I'm not going to make a suggestion. Here's what it is. Do you want it? All of it, some of it, or none of it. I don't care. It's your decision. It's your choice. The results are going to be based on what you do, not what I said. This way, you're not going to sue me because you said I shoulda, woulda, coulda, mighta, hadda. No, this is how it works. This is what happens. This is if you do it, this is the result. If you don't do it, this is the result. Which would you prefer? And Zale, you said it beautifully when look, the code's written for two people, those who get it and those who don't.
Mhm.
And the ones who don't get it will always pay more than the ones that do. But there's no loopholes in the tax code. There are tremendous tax codes that benefit people who want to learn.
Right.
Doesn't matter about your income level. Doesn't matter about your net worth. And if people understood, it's interesting. When I was speaking in the forum, a CPA came out during one of the breaks and said, okay, now you have really pissed me off. I said, uh-oh, what did I do? And he goes, you mentioned 6 codes. I don't know any of them. And I'm a CPA. And I said, welcome to the real world. I've had, 10 CPAs run through our program. None of what we teach is taught in CFP, CLU, CPA, Masters of Science in Financial Services. Doesn't matter. They're not teaching the truth. They're teaching what they're required by law to teach you. And that's it. I'm a fiduciary. I'm required by law to like you. I think that's the biggest slap in the face of any government entity. I've liked my clients and had their best interest, whether I was a fiduciary or not. Now that you want to hold me fiduciarily responsible, I get out of the recommending business. No, not gonna do that. And then I have the client sign the notes. Look, you signed my notes. Can I have a copy? No, you can't. They're mine. You got a cell phone? Copy them, but you're illegally copying them. These are my notes. Here's a piece of paper. Here's a pencil. You can write down everything I'm writing down in your own handwriting, but you're not getting my notes. There's things we can do to protect ourselves from that stuff that's being crammed down our throat. But boy, if we have to have a real honest conversation about you need to put your client's best interest first and above yours, I think you should go open a Taco Bell. Go flip burgers. That's a much easier source of income, and you're not going to be nearly as regulated. Now, the FDA might disagree with that. That's okay. You get a new set of people wanting to come by and look at your burgers. Yeah. So, Stephen, what else? The mic is yours.
I'm a humble guy. When I meet my prospects, which majority is referrals in my business, I've been licensed 25 years. I retired from the Army after 20 years.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. 5 years before I retired, a buddy of mine brought me into Primerica. There happened to be an Air Force recruiting station, and then next to the Air Force recruiting station was the Primerica office. And so my buddy was an Army guy, just like myself, and we met the Air Force guy who happened to he got talked into being a Primerica agent, but he just got his license and he didn't do anything else. However, my friend brought me on board, and I said, okay, well, this sounds okay at the time. Of course, 5 years later, I had kept my licenses while I was with Primerica. I wrote one policy every 2 years. I really didn't care too much about their company at that time. I had already read enough to know that Primerica was a one-size-fits-all type of institution, type of MLM, and that wasn't my thing. So, but I kept my licenses in place so that when I retired from the Army, I go independent. I had already learned enough to know that, go out there, go independent, and get into other products and whole life and permanent plans and annuities and stuff. And so I went independent, started doing stuff on my own. I went this IMO, that IMO, got a little bit of training. But my thing on my end was I just wasn't working hard enough. It took me 20 years to realize I wasn't working hard enough, guys. And I'm not afraid to say this today. Today I can say it. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was lying to myself. I'd make 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand, and I was satisfied. And my wife was kicking me in the ass the whole time. Said, "You ain't doing enough. You ain't doing enough." And she was right. So it was about 5-6 years ago when I finally started to get into, 6-figure income. And I took a Doug Andrew course on life insurance taxation 16 years ago. And that's when I started getting into the Index Universal Life scenario. And basically almost everything I've done in the last 16 years has been IUL related. And I consider myself a Jedi when it comes to doing the illustrations. I mean, I can work wonders and be able to explain to a prospect, hey, listen, what I'm showing you right now, it's I'm showing you 5.5%, or 5.25, or whatever those numbers are. I said the caps are 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, depending on the carrier. And even though we know that over time, over the last 20 years, we can average maybe a 6, a 6.5, or something like that, we're going to be very conservative with our numbers. And then I get into my skill of showing the illustration stuff. I'm into the overfunding side of the house, minimum death benefit overfunding. And that has been my game for the last 16 plus years. I just wasn't working enough over the previous 11, 12 years. And so over the last 5 years, I kind of turned around my work ethic, to be honest. It was my work ethic that was causing me not to be really successful in this business, in this industry. And I knew this is all I wanted to do, yet I wasn't talking to enough people. And I've done very well the last 2 years. Like I said, I ended December with a high net worth individual, is making just over $3 million a year. And I sold him an Index Universal Life policy, $2 million on the minimum side of the house of the death benefit. And he was putting in $200,000 a year. And I showed him what that would look like if he was just to put in $200,000 a year for 5 years. And the numbers all make sense. By the way, the commission on that, as you know, is probably in the 90%. I got 93,000 was my commission on that sale. Did I do the right thing for him? Absolutely. I believe I did what I with whether I'm selling $100 IUL, $1,000 IUL, or a large case of it. I put my heart into coming up with the best plan, being safe, being totally honest. And I'm the most ethical guy you can find anywhere, because that's just me. I've always been a humble guy. I've served my country, now I'm serving others. And I've always been a guy got me around just so I can serve others. And that's how I look at myself. And by the way, the client that I just sold the policy to, he was that Air Force recruiter from 25 years ago.
Awesome. Have you heard me speak before? Is this your first time
Of what?
of hearing me speak?
Oh no, Tom. I've seen you many times on many of the. I couldn't make it to Tennessee. It conflicted with my schedule. Else I would have been there. I wish I would have attended, but again, my schedule couldn't allow me to go. I would have been out there in a heartbeat. But yes, I've heard you. I've seen some of your YouTube videos, and I'm 100% behind a lot of the stuff that you said, or pretty much everything you pretty much said, because I believe in what you're saying. I feel the same way. I think the way you're passionate, I'm passionate, maybe a little more humble kind of guy, but again, I'm passionate as well. But yeah, definitely, you're right on point.
Cocky, confident. Cocky, confident. There ain't much difference between those two. There really isn't. There really isn't.
Oh, there's a difference. Difference is, do I agree with you or not? If I don't agree with you, you're cocky. If I do agree with you, you're confident.
So I quickly have someone who says, I like you, or someone says, geez, what a moron. That's okay. That's all right. Well, good. The secret here, though, Steve, is to get referrals from that guy. Because if he's making 3 million, he knows other people that are making millions. And that to me is that's how you build a practice.
That's correct.
What question do you want to ask of me?
Don't have anything off the top of my head, guys. I don't. I just the more I listen, the more I learn, and that's what it's all about. The education that comes from the experiences of when you guys when you got right now. I've worked Facebook a lot, and my main market was realtors and loan officers. I was in the real estate industry, and what started it was, you got patient zero for COVID. Well, I had a realtor zero for what got me started working with realtors and realizing that these guys have nothing. They'll make 400,000 or 500,000 a year, and then they spend 300,000 or 400,000. They save nothing. They're cocky. They got attitudes. I blocked so many of them for being a-holes. But it started with realtor zero and realtor 01. And from that point on, I met these guys 8 years ago. And to show you how good I am at training, because I love training. I have about 20 agents, but I'm really good at training. I trained in the Army for 18 of my 20 years as a sergeant, and I'm still training today. So I met this guy I crashed a party. That's what it was. It was a grand opening. And I was across the street at a Starbucks, and I saw these people setting up a stage and rolling out the red carpet, and people in suits and hotties, and I was in a suit. So I just mingled in there with the crowd, and that's what I did. And some guy walked up to me. They were all realtors. I had no idea that this guy worked in the office. So he came up to me. He goes, "Hey, are you a realtor?" I said, "No, I do life insurance." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, but I do life insurance in a different way, kind of advanced concept." He said, "Tell me more." We only spoke for like 2 minutes. I said, "If I had an office, want to meet up for an appointment or something, we can get together." He goes, "Follow me." But I had no idea the guy worked in a building. This is like 5:30 in the afternoon on a wonderful sunny August day. We walked into his office where I met realtor number 2, his partner. And he gets in front of his computer, big office, really nice office. He's got 3 gigantic screens in front of his office. And he sits in a chair and he fires up his computer, and he stands up and he points to the chair and he says, "Show me. Show me." What I told him I could do, what I can do for him. He said, "Show me." So I got into the doing an illustration, do IUL illustration. We were there for 2 hours. And by the time we were done, about 7:30, I had him in the chair doing his own illustration, and for his wife and for his kids. And I had trained him to the point that he got the gist of it. He understood it. And I walked out of there with 10 names and numbers. Okay, I got 10 names and numbers, and they were all his family.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
They were all his family. So I got 9 out of those 10. The only one I didn't write an IUL on was his father-in-law, who had serious medical conditions. He calls me 2 weeks later. He says, "I need to talk to you. Come to the office." I went right back to the office. And he goes, "Here." And he gave me another sheet of paper with 10 more names and numbers of the realtors and loan officers inside that building, 2-story building. He goes, "I already told them about you. Go see them." And that right there really, 8 years ago, turned my life around for the better at that time, because I think within a 2-month period, I did about 60,000 with those 10 realtors and loan officers. Actually 9. I got one guy, he didn't qualify, but 9 out of those 10 were realtors and loan officers. And it was all referrals from this guy. And from that, I realized that the real estate industry needed help. And so on Facebook, Dave only knows that I got 1 page, but I have 4 pages. And first is family and friends. I got it. But then I did a realtor page for realtors in California. And then I had to start another page for realtors in Texas and Florida. And then I had to start another page for realtors throughout the rest of the country. And this is what I do. I send messages. I talk to people. If I would show you, I follow up on names of people. I'm really pretty busy today.
Good.
Started 8 years ago with these realtors and loan officers. And so, but over the last 5 months, I've just started hitting on the attorneys. So yeah,
Go there.
I'm gonna hit Zelle up pretty soon. So
I'd rather have a root canal than call on. Wow. Well, good for you. Good for you. Alonzo, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So you're 27 minutes late. What question do you want to ask me? Gonna put you on the spot now.
Well, actually, touching off the other gentleman in terms of working with realtors and loan officers, that's one of the things I've been trying to kind of gain a foothold on is working with realtors. I actually have a couple of friends who are real estate brokers and own their own firms. But it seems like, like I had one who was like, he's 54, he thinks putting 20K into a whole life policy is going to get him enough equity, in his words, to buy a house the following year. And I'm like, we're at 54, 20,000. How long did it take you to get that equity from the house?
Well, you might be thinking of those kind of houses that have wheels on them.
Not in New York City.
No, unless you want to park downtown and then get a ticket. No, exactly. So, Kinder, there was a post on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that, where the guy was going to put in 20 and then borrow 11 million.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
unless they're securing some other outside loan, I don't think that's.
it doesn't matter. You're not borrowing 11 million from the insurance company.
Yeah.
No, some of the stuff that's on the internet is so offensive to me, and I'm in the business. And we don't have to lie, cheat, and steal to make a living. I don't know why people think they have to.
No.
But that is a blatant outright. Be careful, it's not a lie. It's a distortion of the truth. You can't do that.
yeah, I had a friend named an acquaintance. I won't say friend, but an acquaintance is a Brazilian guy named Ribeiro. I won't tell you his full name. Ribeiro was very successful. I mean, he was doing, and this is about 15 years ago, he was doing about 250,000 a year, doing mostly term, selling mortgage protection, doing term mostly. And he was very successful for, I say 4 or 5 years in a row. What would behooves a guy to come up with 11 fake applications on some of his previous clients, come up with 11 fake applications and submit them and get paid some, I don't know, whatever it was, 10, 12,000, if that. And he got caught by the Department of Insurance.
No.
He got nailed to the wall. He sentenced to 5 years. Oh, you'll
Good.
find information. You know where I get the info is? California DOI. Just go to press releases and you can find all the car insurance idiots out there, or all the, so many idiots. I go on there like once every couple of months to find the new press releases. And I use that to educate my agents. Look, don't be this stupid. Don't be that stupid. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Just remember, we as a country love to watch train wrecks.
So that guy did 5 years in prison. 5 years, and they booted him. He got kicked out of the country.
With probably the incapacity to hold a license ever again.
Yeah.
Banned from the business. They're good. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes too long to recognize those people. Alonzo, do you have any questions you want to ask of me? This is your hour.
No, I was scrolling YouTube and I saw this, so I figured it's time to kind of listen into some productive stuff. Every time I listen in, I get some kind of gems. I actually use them in real life application, and even if it isn't successful with the one client I try it with, I try it with 2 more, and then it ends up being successful somewhere.
Good. Well, we're going to be doing this as often as Kinder posts it. However many weeks it passes between the next post is the next time you'll see me. And if you could, comment, share, hashtag, whatever the heck it's called, or tag.
You're just gonna put all the pressure on me, Tom. I see how you're working this here.
Get the word out.
Don't worry, I'll share it on my YouTube.
This is an opportunity for people in the business to get an opinion.
Alonzo, just don't share the Zoom link itself. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
No, none of that.
Ain't doing that again.
Tom, I've got one if you want one.
Alrighty.
So where are the 6 exceptions that you refer to? I have looked for them and I can't nail them down.
101A.
Yeah.
101A, G,
That's AG.
72E, A parenthesis, G parenthesis,
Okay.
72E.
Okay.
72E parenthesis, 5 parenthesis.
Okay.
7702.
Right.
And I think it's 2306 or 2309. It's just that the death benefit of life insurance, if owned individually, is income tax free. So no one has ever questioned that one. We've known that for 100+ years. That's the code I know the least of. The rest are intricacies of how life insurance works, where distributions don't show up on a tax return.
Right. All right.
Tom, I
Excellent.
was
Thank
trying to
you.
write each one of those down, and only one I was able to write down was 72E.
All right. So 101A,
101A.
101A, G, 72E5, 7702, and I think it's 2306 or 2309.
Now, Tom, just so you know, Alonzo's wife, if I remember right, she works for the IRS.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So
Wonderful.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Alonzo, I was audited several years ago with one of the nicest gentlemen I've ever spoken to. And I've been debating whether I should call the man and share with him what I do for a living. Could you imagine someone with the background of IRS coming to work and talking about the tax benefits of life insurance, how much money they would make?
They
And all
make
we
a
have
boatload.
All they would have to start their conversation with is, as a former IRS agent, I've learned that's all they'd have to, and the rest is when everybody's ears within walking distance is going to go, what?
Yeah.
Have your wife call me and I'll see if I can't recruit her.
I will, definitely.
All right. All right. Very good, people. We'll see you next time. Same channel, same. Yeah. What was it? Batman.
Same bad time.
Same
Same
bad
bad
channel.
channel.
Same bad channel. There you go. All right. Be good, people. We'll
All
see
right.
you.
See ya. Thanks.